name's Alex, and in today's class, we'll be opening up the muscles in the neck, muscles in the chest. So this is an amazing class. It's a little bit more on the gentle side, but it's a really feel-good class to help restore and realign some of the stuff that happens when we're sitting behind our desks, when we're slouching, when we're not really mobile going out into the world. A lot of times we think about, okay, I need to move my hips, I need to move my arms, but what about your head and your neck? They really get left behind because we're just staring at a screen. So it's important to recognize primary muscle for breathing is the diaphragm. It pulls down and opens the lungs by creating this vacuum. Secondary muscles are the chest, scalenes, and the SCM up here. Now, when you're dumped forward, those secondary muscles become the primary muscles. And as they continuously to work in overdrive, they get stronger and they get tighter, which exacerbates this poor alignment of the head and neck coming forward. So today's class is going to help reverse some of those issues. It's going to reaffirm some of the muscles along the back of your spine, your postural alignment muscles. So I hope you really enjoy it. It's not a super crazy, like flowy class, but this is a go-to class if you've just had a long day where you're like, I don't really have the energy to do that, but I just know I'm feeling sore and I need to do something for myself. Bookmark this class. It's going to be an amazing one for that. And if you do enjoy how this class goes for you, please support the channel by hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so that you know every time I put out a new video for you. Thank you so much and have an amazing class. Come up into a nice tall seat and tap into the breath. Take one hand to your belly, one hand to your chest, and you're able to sit in a chair. You can sit on the floor. You can sit up on a bolster or a block if you need. But just take a moment and feel your breath out. Relax the muscles in your core. Relax your belly. Take a deep breath in. And just like a sigh of relief, exhale it out. Inhale deep. Gentle sigh of release. Exhale. Again, fully in. Release. All right, so super important today as we get into practice to maintain that beautiful quality of your breath and to think about the position of your head. So when we're sitting behind a desk, we'll tend to let the head drop forward. Now your head weighs about 10 pounds when it's all said and done between your skull and your brain. And when your head goes just an inch forward, it starts to put 20 pounds of pressure on the back of the neck. The farther you bring it forward, the more stress you get. So super important. Not only are we going to stretch out and strengthen the muscles in the neck, but I also hope you walk away with just that kind of piece of awareness and alignment to just keep the head back. The leverage of the skull can play such a huge part in neck pain. So sitting nice and tall, tilt your chin down. And it's going to be a little awkward. It's like you're making a triple chin. Brace your skull back. And at first that might feel super weird. And you might start to feel a lot of muscles in the neck and the upper back turn on. But as you hold the head back, you'll start to feel maybe a little bit more length in the entire spine. From here, tilt your chin down and then take little semicircles from chin to right shoulder, down through center, chin to left shoulder. So deepen your breath, rinsing the breath from full to empty as you circle the head side to side. So it's important to also understand that the primary muscle for breathing is the diaphragm. It sits underneath the lungs, and when you take a deep breath in, it pulls downward, inflating the lungs or creating a vacuum for the lungs to fill. Now, the secondary muscles are muscles in your chest, your pecs, these muscles called scalenes, and your SCM, which are muscles that run down the side of your jaw, down towards your neck and collarbones. Okay, come back up through center, but what tends to happen is that when you hold the head forward, you shorten the muscles in the SCM, you shorten the muscles in the scalenes. When you roll the shoulders, you shorten the muscles in the chest. Now, this also collapses your body's ability to breathe down here into the diaphragm. And so what should be your primary muscle for breathing becomes a little latent. and your secondary muscles become the primary. So bracing the head back is just a nice way of opening up those scalenes, opening up the SCM, and then allowing the shoulders to draw back. And let's see how that actually works. Take your hands, and let's play with both sides of it. Take your hands back behind you. Bring your palms together. Let your shoulders roll forward as if you're kind of sitting behind a desk. And then notice your ability to pull the shoulders back. So move the shoulders forward, move the shoulders back. Move the shoulders forward, move the shoulders back. And so you're checking, and this is your benchmark range when you're in a misalignment or when you're hunched over. Now, sit up nice and tall, tilt your chin down, brace your skull back, and then move your shoulders forward. You won't be able to move them as far, but watch this. Move your shoulders back, and now you can squeeze the shoulder blades much tighter together, maybe even start to straighten the arms back behind you. So why did that happen? It's because when the shoulders were forward, the rib cage was forward, and so the shoulders were already kind of wrapped around. The shoulder blades were moving wide. Now that you've uprighted your spine, you can bring the shoulder blades tighter in, and this is going to be a really nice stretch for the upper chest. Now from here, tilt your chin down, take those little semicircles, and give yourself permission to pause. It might feel really good just to pull your right ear towards your right shoulder and drop your left shoulder down. And you can open and close your jaw a couple times. Then take a semicircle to the other side, left ear towards left shoulder. Pull the right shoulder down, open and close your jaw a couple times. Shake your head in a gentle yes pattern, maybe a gentle no pattern. Okay, and then let's remove the hands from behind the back, chin down, pull the skull back, interlace your fingers behind the back of your head, and lightly start to push your head into your palms. So your hands are creating some resistance to make your neck and your upper back muscles really fire up. Send the shoulder blades wide, wrap the elbows in, then begin to lift your chest. So you might feel a lot of engagement along the back of your body. This is really good. We're working those postural alignment muscles to really fire up here. And let's hold and take 3 deep breaths. And then slowly take your hands down to your shins. Pull back on your shins like you're doing a seated cow pose. Brace your skull back, lift your chin, stretch to the front of your throat, and then take little semi-half circles or little semicircles like you're tracing a rainbow with your chin. And so as you do this, you just want to make sure you're not feeling a pinch in the back of your neck. The primary sensation you should be experiencing is a beautiful stretch here on the front of the throat. And you may, similar to what we did before, you may want to hold it to the right ear. This time we're accessing the front left side of the throat. Drop the left shoulder down, open and close the jaw a couple times. And then to the other side. Open and close your jaw. Just breathe into the sides of your neck. So practice today, maybe not super flashy, doing a bunch of standing postures, but this is just one of those really feel good. You can go to this at any time. If you've been sitting behind the desk, you don't really have the energy to do a full practice, but you're just feeling all kinds of sore, strain, and discomfort. This is a really good one to come back to. Okay, back through center. And then let's turn the head side to side. Sitting up nice and tall, just start to rotate to the right, rotate to the left. And what you're looking for here is to move your head and neck like it's on a swivel. And so first, let's have this kind of contrast. Notice how much you can rotate your head. Then relax for a second. Let your head come forward as if you're typing behind your desk or you're slouching, and then rotate your head left and right. When your head is forward, when your spine's posture is a little off, you're going to notice that you have limited range in the rotation of your head. And it might feel like it's a little more strenuous versus, let's try that again. Tilt the chin down, brace the skull back. Situate your head over your neck, your ribs, and your lower back, and then rotate side to side. And you might notice at least a deeper range or a wider range of movement. And hopefully with that range, you feel like the head's kind of gliding effortlessly on its rotations. Should be a lot less strain there. Okay, so now just a little bit of free form. You can tilt the chin down, take those semicircles to left and right. You can take big full circles. Take your time. I recommend closing your eyes and just feeling your sit bones root into the ground. Reverse your directions. Or just taking the head and neck out for a walk today. All right, I already feel better. Hopefully you do too. Let's sit up nice and tall, and we'll get into a deeper twist. If you need a moment to shake out your legs, go for it. Legs go forward, tap out the backs of the knees. And let's crisscross the shins. Right shin in front of the left shin. We're gonna set up an easy twist here. Cross at the middle shin so that your ankles line up with your outer knees, and then flex your feet back against your shins. Press the outer edges of the feet down. Lightly pull your heels in so you're sitting up nice and tall. Place your right hand behind your back on the mat, left hand to the outside of the right knee. Lift your spine and then twist to the right. So use your hands for guidance, not necessarily to crank you or really wrench you deeper into the rotation, but just to kind of facilitate a sense of awareness. And then play with your spine. Move a little side to side. Do miniature variations of cat-cow. And then find those rotations with the head. Turn your chin towards your right shoulder. Keep the rotation in your chest, but turn your head towards your left shoulder. And then find what's your deepest expression, the place where you feel the rotation of the spine, you feel the sensation, but you also have the quality of your breath. Slowly unwind back to center. And then let's take left hand on the left side waist. Walk your left fingertips over to the left. Palm face down on the mat. Bend the left elbow down so that shoulder doesn't get caught up in the neck. Then take your right arm, reach up and over. Move the shoulders up and down a few times. So loosen up the way the shoulder blades sit on the back of the rib cage and spine. Stick your left palm into the mat. Pull your hand lightly towards you. It's going to help to create that traction to reach up and over. And as your right arm reaches, anchor your right hip into the ground. And now you should start feeling that on the right side of your lower back. Should feel really nice. Okay, with the head, move your head from shoulder to shoulder, or look down and look up. Find those no rotations. Okay, let's come back up through center. Extend your legs out in front of you, tap them out for a moment, and then switching sides, left shin in front of the right shin, crossing at the middle shins. Flex your toes back against your shins. Put a little bit of downward force into the outer edges of the feet. Lightly pull your heels towards you. It's going to make you posture up nice and tall. Okay, left hand on the mat behind your lower back, right hand to the outside of the left knee. Think of your spine like a flagpole. Can you anchor it right between your sit bones and then extend it straight up 90 degrees from the floor, and then start your rotation to the left. Turn your right navel towards your left navel. Think of the spine like a series of discs, and you want each of those discs to do a minor rotation so that the entire spine has a nice revolution, but no one part of the spine is doing the lion's share of work. Turn your chin towards your left shoulder. Give yourself a moment to wiggle around. The key to a good twist is to never force it, but to investigate how to root your hips down and extend your head up for the seated twist. The more you can discover length, the easier your body will go into its rotation. Brace your chin down and back. Rotate your chin towards your left shoulder. Maybe shake your head no a couple times. And then slowly unwind your head, unwind your gaze. Right hand on the right hip. Walk your right hand in a straight line to the right. Palm face down. Bend the right elbow down, let that right shoulder drop away from the neck and from the ear. Take your left arm, reach up and reach over. So I like to shrug the shoulders a couple times. One, for two reasons. One, it makes me really aware if I'm holding tension in the neck or tension in the shoulders, I can loosen it up. Two, it feels really good just to mobilize the shoulders, because how often do we really do this? And three, it actually helps to facilitate a little bit more length. So when I take this left arm and reach up and over, I can also bring the shoulder up with it. And all of a sudden, I can feel that deeper length in between my left armpit and my left side waist. And so it's really a game searching for every little millimeter of space. Use your right palm, stick it into the mat, lightly pull towards you. That's just going to give you that little extra oomph to traction your spine. And as you reach with the left arm, anchor your left hip, your left buttock down to the mat. So we just keep looking. Every little millimeter. It might not look like a lot from the outside, but it can feel like a world of difference on the inside. You can shake your head no, rotating your head to look up at the sky and down. Just take it slow. And then side bend the head. Ear goes from shoulder to shoulder. You're looking for that happy middle. Where's the place where your head, your neck feels best? All right, inhale, slowly rise up. Okay, extend your legs straight out in front of you. Tap out the backs of the knees and thighs. Okay, and then bend your knees generously. I like to start at least a quarter of the way bent. Hands down by the hips for Dandasana, staff pose. Think of this like an L shape, but the legs being completely straight is not the priority. The spine's verticality, that is, though. So I want to feel sit bones down, top of the head reaches up. I'm going to push my palms into the mat, lightly pull the hands back, and see what happens to the shoulders, right? And to help make it easier on the shoulders and chest, I'm going to tilt chin down, skull back, pull back. Now that my chest feels nice and open, my head, neck, and spine feel nice and long, I'm going to take my awareness into the lower back, and relative to my ability to keep the spine straight, I'll slowly begin to straighten my knees. Now, if you rush the legs, your tailbone will scoop under because the tension of the hamstrings will pull the bottom of the sit bones forward, creating that tilt in the pelvis, almost like you're spilling your body backwards. So make it about this relationship. How straight can the legs get relative to how straight can your spine be? And make that all relative to your ability to breathe. Fully in. Empty it out. Full. Empty. All right, bend your knees. Let's scoot the hips a little forward on the mat. Lower all the way down onto your back, setting up bridge pose. Slide your heels tight to your hips. Take your hands and grab your thighs. For me, I like thumbs on the inside, other four fingers on the outside. I'm going to place my hands as close to the pelvis and hips as I can. So it's almost like I'm gripping through the flesh of my thighs, like I'm gripping my thigh bones. And then press lightly down into your feet, just enough to get a little lift in your hips. Now keep that forward push on the hands. Hover the hips a millimeter, not much, just so they're not stuck on the ground. And then start to circle your hips. Anchor your shoulders down into the mat. And so what you're doing here is as you press your thigh bones forward because they sit inside your hip sockets, it's tractioning your pelvis forward, which is giving that length into your lower back. This should feel so good. This is one of my favorite things to do. If I was in a car ride for just a little too long, or if I was spending too much time sitting down, sometimes it can feel like your spine's just crushing down into your hips and into your lower back. And this is an opportunity to release and relax it. All right, let's take it into a little bit more active stretch. Feet stay hip distance, slightly turn your toes in. Take your elbows tight to the sides of your waist. We'll set up an active bridge pose. Bend your elbows so the fingers and forearms point upwards towards the sky, and then shuffle the shoulder blades gently underneath. Root down, elbows and shoulders. Root down into your feet. Begin to lift the hips. I say begin to because I want you to start slow. And then equalize the pressure from your ball mounds to your heels and start pulling back on your shins. So you've got this complementary engagement. The glutes are engaging to help bring the hips up, and the hamstrings are engaging as the shins pull back to help drag the pelvis forward, kind of like you just did a moment ago with your hands on your thighs. Breathe. When you think of this like a bridge, think of the pillar of your shins and the anchor of your shoulders. Slowly lower all the way down onto your back. And then again, inhale, bridge pose. Press into your elbows and shoulders. Press into your feet. This one, take your hands just outside of your heels. Grab the outside edges of the mat. 4 fingers go underneath, thumbs stay on top. Energetically pull your hands away from each other. Shuffle your shoulders under. And as you pull the mat apart, press the backs of your shoulders down. Tilt your chin down. Keep length in the back of the neck. Breath in. Exhale, slowly release. One more. Elbows start by the sides of the waist, fingers and forearms 90 degrees pointing up to the sky. Press into your shoulders. Press into your feet, lift your hips. And let's take the bound variation. Hands come down. Bring your palms together underneath your back. Interlace your fingers. Shimmy the arms underneath. Make those tight fists, palm to palm. Close it up and then drive the length of your arms into the ground. As you push down through the length of the arms, keep your chin in. Feel the length in the back of the neck. And add that slight pull of the shins back. So similar to how we started when you had your hands behind your head in the seated pose, now you're using the ground effectively the same way. Press your head into the mat. Feel those muscles, neck, upper back turning on. And then slowly unwind your hands, lower all the way down to the ground. Okay, let's hug knees into armpits. And then circle your knees, 2 opposing circles. So knees come into the armpits, they close together, send them forward away from your chest, open them wide again. Okay. So finding of these 2 kind of mirror images of a circle with the movement of your knees and thighs. And then reverse the circles. The other thing that happens is when we're sitting, our thighs stay hip distance, but we have so much room in our hips, in our groins. But if you don't use it, you lose it. So this is just a really passive way or gentle way of reminding the body of its full range. Now, can you do this without the use of your hands? So goal post your elbows out, in line with the shoulders. Circle your thighs. And then reverse circles. Okay, let's take it into a much more passive stretch. Soles of the feet come together, Supta Baddha Konasana. And then keep your arms at a goalpost shape. We'll work those angel slides. Tilt your chin slightly into your chest. Make room for the back of the neck. Lean into the mat. So back of the head, shoulders, back ribs, and the hips are pressing down. There's a little bit of a lift behind the lower back. Now as you breathe in, stretch your arms straight back behind you. And then exhale, either sweep your arms wide like you're making a snow angel, or you can bend the elbows if that's a little too heavy on the shoulders. And then either inhale, bend the elbows, and then stretch back behind you, or just sweep the arms. Exhale, you decide, arms sweep or elbows bend. And you can alternate. So maybe do a couple with your arms straight. Inhale, make those snow angels on the ground. Exhale. Let's do 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Do 2 more on your own, but pay attention to whether your rib cage is lifting off of the mat. Remember, it's not just the movement of the arms we want, but it's that downward force, the postural muscles on the spine staying engaged. Now let's do 3 more with elbows bent. Elbows bent, inhale, straight arms back. And it's like you're doing a pull-up but laying down. Exhale, elbows pulled down by your waists. Inhale up. Lean into the mat. Exhale, elbows pull. Inhale. Exhale, elbows pull. All right, let's hug in and knees to chest. Right knee hugs into the right armpit. Left leg extends long on the mat. Flex your left toes back. Take a breath in, stamp down to your left heel, and then exhale, supine twist. Center your left heel. Use your left heel on the mat to lift your hips, and you can bring the elbows down like you did bridge pose. Lift your hips so that when you stack your right hip over your left hip, the hips stack at the middle of the mat. They don't roll off to the side. Shimmy your shoulder side to side, and then goalpost out your arms. Pick up your head and rotate it to the right. So if you were on the ceiling looking down at your body, your head, neck, ribs, spine should all be right down the center of the mat, or as close to it as possible. And if you're not sure, that's okay. Just wiggle side to side, explore. Close your eyes. Come away from the external visualization that's just a guide and go into the feeling. The idea is that if you've got the length, you'll have the space to rotate. And so you make that your investigation. Let's bring it back to center. Left knee pulls into the left armpit. Right leg goes long on the mat. Center your right heel, middle mat. Pull with both your arms. Lean into the ground. And then exhale, supine twist for the setup. Let's find those bridge pose arms, elbows by the sides of the waist. Stamp into your right heel, lift your hips, rotate left hip over right hip. And you might have to do that a couple times. So you lower the hips, situate, then lift again, rotate. All right. Once your left hip is over your right hip, goalpost or tee out your arms. Move the shoulders a little side to side, making sure both shoulder blades are flush to the mat. And then pick up your head, rotate it to the left. So you rotate the hips and head as far as your shoulders can remain flush, especially that right shoulder. That's going to be the one that tries to twist out when you rotate the head. And your left shoulder will try to lift when you rotate your hips. So both shoulders nice and flush. All right, let's hug it back to center. Knees hug into chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. Tuck your chin to your chest. Curl everything up into a tight ball. Squeeze your forehead to your knees. Flex the muscles in your arms. Squeeze the muscles in your core. Deep breath in. And then exhale, final Shavasana. I know it's not a super hard workout today, but it's so important to take Shavasana for both your physical body, your emotional body, and your mental body. So let's wiggle things out. Think of your spine like a caterpillar. Move it up and down from hips to head. So when you lay on the mat, you lay out as spaciously as possible. And then turn your palms to face up, and let's go into the breath now, fully in. And just a gentle sigh of letting it go. Fully in. Sigh of relief. Fully in. Sigh of relief. And now let go of your breath. Any thoughts that come to your mind. So imagine your mind is like an open palm. The thoughts are like wind or water. They touch the mind, they touch the hand, but they just drift. And at any moment if the thoughts gather or collect. So imagine turning your palm upside down, letting your mind empty out. It's only when we grip physically and mentally we start to suffer. So Shavasana is like a long exhalation for the physical body, for the breath, and for the thoughts and emotions that no longer serve you in this moment. It's a release from the anchorage of the past and from the anxiety of the future. No attachments to what has happened up to this moment. No attachments to what comes next. A moment to simply fall deep within yourself. So if you have the time today, please stay in Shavasana a few minutes longer. And so my hope for you is that this practice helps to take away some of the stress and strain on the neck, but to also make you highly aware so that when you're sitting throughout the day, maybe you'll just remember, tilt the chin down, move the skull back. Take a couple moments, stretch out the neck, mobilize it, use it so you don't lose it, use it so that your breath gets deep into your body, deep into your belly, and doesn't get stuck up here in the chest. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope this practice opens your mind, opens your heart, and clears some energy for you. Until next time, namaste.